Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about some timeless characters. Recently I released a video talking about some teams that have sadly fallen out of use, particularly for me in the end game and in Kyber 1. Just don't see a lot of play. And that got me thinking, what are some timeless characters that we have that just stick around no matter what? So I'm not going over teams, it's too nebulous of a concept, and sadly, I don't think there are any real timeless teams. I think pretty much everything from over 5 years old is pretty cycled out. But we're going to be using that time measurement. So when I say these older characters, they were at least 5 years old, and I'm looking at the dividing line of 2020. Did they come out before 2020? Do they still have some use? Not going to be looking at legendaries or conquest units. There were no conquest units back then, but no legendaries. Nothing you had to get a bunch of characters up the farm. These are characters that you farm directly. They were either their day one, a marquee release, or some other guild release that you can now farm directly. So without further ado, let's get into the list. For me, one of the first characters that came to mind was Mace Windu. And yes, he is a little different than Timeless because he used to suck. And then he got a rework, and now he is fantastic. And mine is actually really high up on the power number. He is my second highest power rating for a non-GL. And you know, he is just so flexible. He still has a lot of use. In Territorial Wars, Omicron, he's awesome. In GAC, he is valuable in a variety of teams. I could use him on a JMK team, or a JML team, on a Qui-Gon team, on a Padme team, Queen Amidala team. He just really brings a lot to the table with a constant foresight for Galactic Republic Jedi, the turn meter swap. Shattered Point's a pretty unique ability that really helps get you out of a couple tough situations. And in the early game, he was indispensable for me, especially in those early days of Galactic War when I didn't really have anything that could do big damage or anything. The Shatter Point mechanic really got me out of a lot of binds, especially against like the Kylo Ren Unmasked. And that's just early game. End game, I mean, I'm not trying to go too far into ships, but his capital ship is amazing now with the rework. It is the life of my small account, and on my large account now, it's like my most powerful capital ship in terms of number, which isn't the most important thing, but he's got ability block on his basic. Just really, really nice. So first character, time for the next one. Sticking with the Galactic Republic Jedi dual faction, we got Ahsoka Tano Snips, so OG Snips. She was actually, I think she was a day one character, and while her ship is great, I'm just thinking about what she brings to a JMK team. So she is timeless in the fact that she has a pretty permanent slot in 5v5 on one of the best teams in the game. Now, she doesn't do too much outside of JMK and her ship, but the fact that she is so valuable on such an endgame team, and she's such an old character, really speaks volumes. It's really just about her unique, where she's assisting all the time whenever an ally uses a special. If it's a Galactic Republic leader, I guess Galactic Republic ally is required for the assist. The Dispel on her basic can't be evaded if there is Foresight. She does some good damage too, but she really just charges that ultimate for JMK very well. And the ship I don't want to overlook completely, but she's just kind of a role player that has definitely stood the test of time. Breaking away from those who have access to the Force, we got Han Solo. So Han Solo is not a legendary. He was the original raid character. He used to be referred to as Pit Raid Han. You had to get him 10 shards at a time at most doing the pit raid, but now he's very easily accessible. So I don't think he's even a quasi-legendary character anymore in terms of acquisition. But this guy's kit is just so simple, but so valuable. The way he can cycle through his own turns. I mean, look at the text on these abilities. It's very short, and yet he's just so refreshingly timeless. Shoots first is a very unique ability in the game. Going first, avoiding taunts and stunning. I always gush about it. Super valuable. It's what makes the CLS team one of the best teams in Conquest. Just getting that perfect initiative. The angle I have him at is like, oh, look at my chest. I love the combo of when you get to his first turn, you do Deadeye. With how much crit chance he has, it's a pretty easy second turn right away, unless there's turn meter prevention. Basic is awesome, removes turn meter, unavoidable, or extra damage if it's not removing turn meter. Extra turn meter, this guy is just awesome. So he's the only representative on the CLS team, the standard CLS team, because they're either too new to be on it or they're just legendaries. But yeah, Han Solo, pretty awesome. And staying within the original trilogy, we have Hermit Yoda. Now, he is also a little bit more difficult to acquire. You have to use Get 2 or raid currency tier 2. But he has a kit that's very unique and definitely will have a place in this game for a long time. I'm not going to say forever, but most of it has to do with Master's Training. So Master's Training is his own unique buff, can't get it anywhere else. But on Jedi team, you're gonna be getting an extra 50% offense, which is the most important thing: defense, potency, tenacity, accuracy. Especially the offense, and this kit stacks with offense up. So it permanently stays there the entire match. It's pretty unique. It's kind of like, I don't know, the Beskar armor, just a locked buff that stays on forever. Really juices up a character, and if the battle's long enough, you get it on the whole team. Also, his healing. I mean, he's a character that doesn't do damage, which, you know, to the unsophisticated mind for a game like this, or palette, I don't know what you want to call it, it seems kind of crap that he doesn't do damage, but he just adds so much to the team with his turn meter, with his healing, with the extra boost. So, and he hides himself pretty well. I mean, he has 100% evasion while stealth, so he stays alive quite well. He's never going to be like a super easy target in that regard. Yeah, I mean, used primarily on a JML team at this point, but yeah, really nice characteristics. And now for the first dark side character in this list, we have Traya. And honestly, it's just because of her Omicron that she is so over the top valuable for such an old character. She's another raid character, came out in 2017, I think, with the Sith raid, which is one of those rewards for getting in the top placement, but you could get her max 10 shards at a time. So it really took a long time back in the day to unlock her. Now, pretty easy. Like I said, I mean, most people have that Omicron. Her viability rivals like the tier below Galactic Legend in Kyber 1. I mean, this is one of the primary drivers of a Kyber 1 team that we still have viable. She's not technically a legendary, so she can match on this list. Isolate. Unique debuff, very powerful, prevents buffs for the rest of the match. They can't attack out of turn, positive effects out of turn, just a lot of stuff. And Leviathan can inflict it, but that's kind of, it's different. But yeah, I mean, her lead is pretty strong too. The damage from taking attacks out of turn isn't as like wow as it was when it came out, but still really valuable. And I don't know, I don't see her ever going out of style, at least in GAC. Outside of GAC, it's, you know, kind of hit or miss, but since GAC is probably the most important game mode in this game, she deserves a spot on this list for sure. But she would not be what she was without her right-hand man, Darth Nihilus. So Darth Nihilus was a marquee character in, I guess, 2017. First character to have an insta-kill, so anytime an insta-kill ability is referred to, the common term is annihilate, because that's the first time we saw it. It was just, I wasn't playing at that time, but just from watching old videos, people are like, what, just blown away at him. But he's actually a very balanced character in the long run, and still really good. He does, like, what makes him so good and timeless is he's not worried about his own damage. It's all about the insta-kill, and then getting to that insta-kill. Increasing cooldowns has always been viable, very valuable, and this particular one can't be resisted if they have a debuff. Dispel on basic is always valuable, and that's helping him cycle back around to an annihilate. Oddly enough, his uniques and like his leadership aren't super valuable. I mean, he does random health down, which is nice. Well, actually, his unique part of it that is really valuable, he stacks his health up to potentially like infinity. I think there is theoretically a max, but I don't know what it is. As long as it is with Scion or Traya, and they get debuffed, he gets 30% max health, so he gets quite tanky. Back before they turned off Treya's Omicron against Darkside GLs in matches against Lord Vader, where Traya could beat Lord Vader, sometimes it didn't work, but then it ended with Nihilus versus Lord Vader, and he could not die because his health was so freaking high. Just crazy. And from what I've heard, he's actually one of the main reasons that they put Star Gates on gear, which I love that ship, Stargate, by the way. all of them. But star gates on which getting to gear 12. So when he came out, he's just 3 stars. There was no real reason you needed to farm his shards. He was just awesome at 3 stars. He didn't care about his damage. He didn't care. I mean, even his health, it wasn't that big a deal because he'd stack it. So yeah, really interesting, really awesome timeless character, Darth Nihilus. This next one might be a little bit of a surprise for people, but I'm giving General Hux the nod. And the main reason is because of his unique Fault Laser First Order. Enemies can't gain bonus Terminator while Hux has advantage, and he starts with advantage. So for a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, he is one of the most indispensable characters on the team. Out of the old ones, him and Kylo Ren and Master kind of up there as a tie, but he materially changes a matchup. If the enemy can't gain bonus Terminator, most of the time Slicker is going to go first, and they're not going to be able to loop circles to catch up. Passing a bonus turn, and a lot of this is just from the lens of he goes with Supreme Leader Kylo, just like Ahsoka goes with JMK, but just the fact that he's a non-legendary, just a plain old marquee that has that ability is crazy. There's only a few characters that have it in general. I mean, JMK, Hux, and that's kind of it. I mean, there's like little datacrons that come out here and there that help. Mass Assist, always valuable. He was part of the original solo team for the heroic Sith raid, which was quite a feat when it happened. It was just a shocker that could happen. I mean, his lead's not that important, but you know, early game or mid game, maybe you get some value out of it. That's really mainly about that Terminator prevention. So Admiral Hux barely makes the cut. I mean, it's the end of 2019, but yeah, he still qualifies. And you can't say timeless or think of timelessness without General Kenobi. It's the last of the 3 raid characters. Thankfully, all 3 of them held up really well, which you can't say the same for all kinds of guild-related releases like the Imperial Probe Droid or Rebel Officer Leia Organa. Completely outdated at this point, but General Kenobi is just super solid. For one, his stats scale really well with the higher relics. 2, all of his abilities are very generalized. I mean, so he's the best on a General Kenobi team, but everything's very generalized. Whenever another ally, so anytime, you gotta look at this language, because new characters are all pigeonholed into their own little faction, but for him, whenever any other ally is critically hit, if he's alive, I mean, that should go without saying, they gain crit immunity for 1 turn and he taunts. So he is protecting everybody. No matter what team you put him on, he can tank for you. And getting crit immunity is so good because crit damage is no longer capped at like 186%, 190%. With relics, the value of crit immunity has only gone up. With mastery, you have potentially infinite crit damage when you keep stacking up high, but like crit avoidance, like if you have defense up on a character, it's like Big Whoop. I don't really care. If you have crit immunity up, or if I'm facing a team that has crit immunity up, I want to get rid of that as soon as I possibly can because my damage is just nerfed. And he can't, like, unless you put buff immunity on it, it's just going to keep happening. You get 1 crit, then it goes back on. It's just crazy. His cleanse, his debuff, dispel, whatever, works on anybody. And it's not only just a cleanse, it's a flip. So if there is a mirror side of that debuff, you'll get the opposite. So if you have offense down, you'll get offense up, which is really valuable. Just cleansing anyone is great. And then Mass Assist, again, there's that all other buffed allies. So they have to have buffs, but they don't have to be Galactic Republic or Jedi or anything like that. So just fantastic. His lead's kind of whatever, but his basic gives out foresight to random allies too. Just, I love these old characters. As long as they were good, if they had a good kit that was generalized, they can really scale well. But he's a rare breed. He's probably the best character on this list. Honestly, like the most timeless, the highest chance to stay relevant forever. Gotta love this guy. Second to last character we're talking about is Bastila Shan Fallen. When I started the early concept for this video, I wasn't excluding legendaries at first, but then I figured I'd have to add Darth Revan, Malak, Jedi Revan, just go out of control. But Bastila Shan Fallen gets special mention because out of marquee characters, she is pretty special. She was one of the first characters, her and her light side counterpart, to have 6 abilities, triple uniques. I mean, I think the 3 uniques thing was pretty new. she brought in the fear mechanic. So fear, and you can tell by it has its description in her kit. Tons of debuffs. Really went well, even before Darth Revan came out. Really went well on a Palpatine team with all those debuffs. The AoE, the damage, the ability block on basic, the corrupted battle meditation is a special one to me because it makes you. What does it do? You can't land debuffs. So I don't know where it is in the kit. Oh yeah, it's right here. You need to have Darth Revan, but if you do have Darth Revan on the team, enemies with corrupted battle meditation cannot debuff you, which is super valuable, and like that's never gonna get old. I mean, she's on a Malgus team now, and is quite valuable there. But that team, and I mean a lot of it's due to Malgus, Malak, Darth Revan, and all that. But she has quite a part to play on her own. Great stats, great abilities. Just love her. I didn't put OG Bastille on this list because she definitely has kind of gotten outdated. I love her mechanics, but she doesn't really have a place in the game modern day, sadly. And last, and I'm not going to say the best or most important, but I was going for the surprise in the last one. This is Night Sister Zombie. Now, some people might be surprised. Some people might say, yeah, obviously, she's timeless. But she is very unique with her ability to revive. Whenever she dies, as long as there's a living Night Sister ally, she's coming back. There's the mechanic where, if you kill her twice, she's slow and she's not really going to do anything. But she's always coming back. And that revive cannot be prevented. Yeah, she revives, which can't be prevented. So you can annihilate her, she's coming back. If you have a datagron that says you can't be killed enemies can't be revived, she's still coming back. She will always come back, and that's what's so valuable and unique about her. We're not really going to use her as much with Kylo Ren now with his new dark side Rey lifter that he has, but for the longest time, Zombie and just another Night Sister, most of the time Daka, would go with Supreme Leader Kylo, and he'd have an infinite tank generator because he'd put up advantage, which would cause her to taunt. She'd keep dying, but keep coming back. So the fact that she always comes back is really, the main thing that makes her valuable. She does have some place sometimes on a Great Mother's team. Outside of that, on a normal Night Sister team, they kind of are falling out of style for right now. Except the thing keeping them alive is they kill Jabba, but Zombie's not part of that. Anyway, she's an old character, super unique, super valuable, and I don't think they're ever going to build another character with this ability because this has caused them so many problems. In Conquest, they took Zombie out of the normal teams that you run across, normal Night Sister teams, because people could farm kills on them, and she was one of those characters like Nihilus where you didn't need to farm her much. And people would just have her as weak as possible because they wanted her to die and they wanted to trigger the Night Sister effects from someone dying. But anyway, really cool. So I thought it would be nice to end this list with Night Sister Zombie. So that's it. That's my list. Let me know what you think, and let me know some characters that you think should be on this list. Remember, I'm working with a cutoff of pre-2020. It feels like a first and second half to the game in that regard, and there are definitely some valuable timeless characters that I didn't mention here, but this was kind of more like a top 10 that comes to mind when I think of timelessness. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.